clarity and confidence and understanding of your financial reports and really have a good mastery of your financials and accounting records and everything that we've discussed in prior clips, um, you have to have a really good infrastructure and foundation, right? So you need to lay a good onboarding process that kind of comes into place when you work with an accounting team like Accountfully. Basically, if you don't have a good foundation like your house is on, then there could be issues down the road. So, which is why we do have a very thorough onboarding process here at Accountfully, and we've really enhanced it over time. Really, our focus is around quality of getting books and records right, understanding the client's needs, and customizing our processes and workflow and systems to them, as well as getting them engaged, understanding of how we operate, because we know what we're doing from an accounting standpoint. So, several things we do during the onboarding process that are very key, and you don't want to skip over that aspect as you move forward and working with an outsourced firm or something else. Number one is you know, just basically meeting the teams and understanding who you're working with is a huge part of this. Number two is getting access to the data you need to get access to. As we kind of go through that, right? Like getting access to banks, credit cards, systems that you use. There may be specific inventory systems or point of sale systems or, Shopify or whatever, Amazon that we need to do our job. The more information we get, or your account gets, the better and more efficient it will be in terms of getting data in place versus you being involved, right? That setting up and systems and configuring them, making sure your systems are properly set up with QuickBooks, with payroll, with inventory, with bill payment, etc. Depending on whatever systems you use, making sure they're set up and configured to properly integrate and sync data. Huge part of everything. The next big part, which is really where everybody goes to from a client perspective, is, hey, my books and records are clean, and you don't need to go back too far to clean up. Well, a lot of times you do need to go back far in order to have proper financials, right? Again, what we're trying to do is lay a good baseline and an infrastructure of financial reporting going forward. So we need to a lot of times make sure we have good accrual-based financials, right? Gross revenues, net revenues, understanding your margins month over month. And a lot of times small businesses, if they haven't had a professional accounting firm, may not have had financials on an accrual basis. Maybe it was a cash basis prior to. So at some point there needs to be a transition to accrual-based accounting. The natural aspect of that is doing it like as a January 1st, right? As of a start of a calendar year, which can make sense and easy, but sometimes there's a different reason for whatever you need to do with that, right? So a big part of it, yes, we need to go back and clean up records going back, or sometimes you may want to go all the way to January, even if it is October, November timeframe when you get started. So then you have good comparative data month over month, as well as January 25 versus January 26. Clearly, a big part of that is cleaning up records. A lot of people do focus on the P&L. You also need to look at the balance sheet. That's really where all the issues are. A lot of times you'll see asset accounts that are negative, liability accounts that are positive, bank accounts, credit cards, loan statements that aren't reconciled properly. Huge part of onboarding, cleaning up records. Number two, reviewing your chart of accounts, making sure they're set up for success, typically on the P&L, right? So we can see good gross numbers, net numbers, COGS numbers, advertising, marketing, logistics, fulfillment, etc. Organizing that, because then that level of data and reporting that really directly ties to how you're going to understand your P&L and report profitability moving forward. Balance sheet's a little less of a priority with that, but again, grouping different buckets makes a lot of sense there. So cleaning up records, understanding that as an inventory-based company, walking through your inventory and supply chain, understanding where your inventory is, what your costs are, what your landed costs are, whether you're going to implement an inventory system like Sin 7 or whether you're going to do it manually via an inventory workbook in Google Sheets or a PDF like we handle. Once all that's done, then there's two more big parts of it. Number one is understanding and getting Accountfully or your accounting firm to do the month-end financial close process, right? And getting those financials closed month over month over month during the onboarding process and walking through that with the clients so they understand what's in the P&L, what's in the balance sheet, so they get an idea of what it makes sense, how they want to account for specific things, answer questions of various transactions we need help coding, and making sure we get a good process there. The last thing, kind of big part of the onboarding process, is actual process discussions, walking through the bookkeeping processes that we're going to be doing for them that's specific to their business and us taking over, or specific processes that they're going to keep doing, i.e. maybe like commission calculations that we just need to know, understand what it is, so then we can properly account for them. And then starting to execute the bookkeeping process, right? So the onboarding process with any organization or accounting firm should be very thorough because there's a lot going on. And when you do it up front, even if it is a little more work involved, the long-term benefits and efficiency from a financial standpoint, from a strategic clarity standpoint, from understanding, your your margins and KPIs and you taking your business from here to scalability, making good decisions long term, really rests on having a good infrastructure from an accounting standpoint, which is where like the onboarding process comes into play. So again, a big part of it, kind of the big summaries are setting up systems, configuring, getting access to various records, cleaning up records going backwards, ensuring you have a good chart of accounts, understand your inventory supply chain, walking through the month-end financial close process, understanding your P&L, your balance sheet, starting bookkeeping processes, and having process discussions with our clients as well. So understanding that onboarding process really and how thorough it is, it really will set you up for success as well as your relationship with your accounting firm going forward.